Welcome back to another brand new video of my channel. So in today's video, I'm going to introduce for you guys a book named Bad Blood, and this book will tell you about the biggest fraud in the Silicon Valley in history. So this book is very chilling, it reads like a thriller and virtually to perfection. So this is a quote by the New York Times book review, and this book is one of Bill Gates' favorite book. So we are introduced to a character named Elizabeth Holmes. She is a prodigy. She is very good at chemistry, and she is expertised in chemistry in Stanford University. But when she studied in Stanford University for about 2 years, then she decided to drop out and start her own startups. So she decided to start her company about blood testing, and she named her company Carreyrou. So Carreyrou is a company where they pinch blood from the patient's fingertips, then they transfer the data of that drop of blood to a machine that will analyze that drop of blood and provide needed information to cure diseases which the patient have. So Elizabeth started her company Carreyrou, and her company is very successful, and she ended up recruiting employees from different companies like Apple, Microsoft, or other biotech company, and she started to build her Carreyrou even better, and her employees is very good, and they are all they all knows their job, and they decided to develop the system and the technology in the Carreyrou. And Elizabeth Holmes has a phobia of needles, so she inherited that from her mom, and her mom is very afraid of needles. So Elizabeth Holmes decided to make blood testing least painful as possible by pinching only one drop of blood rather than get like several milliliters of blood per test. And that idea works very well because all the patient doesn't have any pain at all during the blood testing progress, and her business is going very well, and Carreyrou start to cooperate with a supermarket company called Walgreens, and they are backed with famous investors like Larry Ellison and Tim Draper, and Carreyrou's company worth is at $9 billion, which is a large amount of money, and Elizabeth Holmes' worth is at an estimate of $4.5 billion. So which make her a billionaire at this point because she is very rich, and her marketing plan is very smart. She decided to advertise her products as the best in the world, and she started to exaggerate the use, the profit, the benefit of her product, and that way she could persuade her customer, the investor, and all the people that is interested in buying her product. But there's one problem: her machine, her technology didn't work. The system, the blood testing system in Carreyrou, it simply didn't work because it always malfunctioned. It gives false information about a person, blood analyst, which make it pretty difficult for Carreyrou to fix the problem, because the progress to develop a technology, a device in Carreyrou is pretty difficult, and Carreyrou, they didn't have a proper lab. They didn't have a proper laboratory to fix their technology, fix their devices. And one day, some investor, they started to question about the false information that Carreyrou have been giving out lately, and they decided to bring out a investigator to, investigate what is going on with Theranos lately. And the investigator found out that Theranos products malfunction a lot, and they didn't work. So the investigator put off that information to the internet, and Elizabeth Holmes is sent to court. And the court sentenced her 9 to 11 years in federal prison, and she has to pay a fee of $400 million to pay back of her patient, of the investor, and the corporation that Theranos have collapsed. And at the end, the investor who invested in Theranos lost the grand total of $1 billion. So yeah, that is basically the end of this book. And I think that this book is pretty good, and it is pretty interesting. It shows us the dark side of the Silicon Valley. It shows us, how one company can, trick all of its investors to buying its product. And I think that Elizabeth Holmes is a smart person, but she can't, regulate her company correctly, and at the end, Theranos just failed. So I give this book like a 9 out of 10 because in the beginning, this book is kind of hard to, understand the plot. But when I read it, to the half, I think it is, kind of easy to understand. So if you guys want to, learn more about fraud, especially fraud in the Silicon Valley, this book is your perfect match. So this is the end of this video. Please leave this video a like and a subscribe. Goodbye.